We Are Providence, written and read by J.S. Wells. In Part 2, we followed Scott Atwell after recently moving to Providence and his girlfriend Erica arriving for his birthday weekend with a genealogy project and a Ziploc bag of magic mushroom chocolates. They spent the afternoon very high. They survived a Cinco de Mayo crowd and took refuge in a cathedral cemetery. They are now at Waterfire, where the city lights fires and braziers down its rivers. Everything is extremely beautiful, but is getting less fine by the minute. Scott has seen things he has explained away to the psilocybin, and Erica has just stopped smiling. She has one more unexpected piece of a birthday present to show him. Scott is about to run out of explanations. 3. Ahead of us, maybe 100 yards down the path, a cluster of figures sat huddled against the low wall by the pedestrian bridge, covered in blankets despite the warmth of the evening. I noted them, keeping a half an eye in the distance between us. Erica, what's going on? She was quiet for a few steps. When she spoke, her voice was careful and a half-pitch higher than usual, the way it got when she was holding something in. When we were at the cathedral, I got texts. She paused. I've been following a lead on your mother's side. The last lead. I reached out to some genealogical archives, some community databases. Another pause. It triggered something I wasn't expecting. What kind of something? I'm getting there. She took a breath, and I could see her feeling for the steadier ground of historical facts, her voice leveling out slightly. Your great-grandfather. The Zodakiv surname. I told you I couldn't find that name anywhere before Ellis Island. Right. But I found it. Or rather, it found me. She glanced at me, then looked away. The name doesn't come from Ukraine, Scott. It comes from a place called Innsmouth, a town on the coast of Massachusetts. I knew that name. It snagged on something in my memory without quite attaching to anything. Innsmouth. It's a small fishing community, largely abandoned after a federal raid in 1928, the same year your great-grandfather arrived at Ellis Island. She said it in the way she said everything historical, but her hands were clasped in front of her, and her knuckles were pale. The Navy was involved. Most of the town's population was either imprisoned or disappeared entirely. The ones who got out, she paused, scattered. Ahead of us, the huddled figures were stirring beneath their blankets. I watched them and kept my voice low. Erica, there's some people up ahead. I don't know if we should... I know, she said, without looking up. Just keep walking, please. I looked at her, and her jaw was set. So I kept walking. The records I found, the texts I received tonight, they fill in what I couldn't find before. Your family were part of the Innsmouth community. Your great-grandfather didn't flee Stalin, Scott. He fled the Navy. She stopped for just a moment, collected herself, and kept going. He came to Providence because others had already come here, because Providence had a harbor and rivers that run deep, and because something was already here waiting. Her voice caught slightly at the last word. Something that traveled with them. The figures of head had shed their blankets and now were rising slowly, moving in our direction. My hand went instinctively towards Erica's arm. There were more of them than I had first counted. 8, 10, more emerging from the shadows by the bridge. The smell of brine hit me before I could make out their faces in the dark. Erica, we need to... You should check your 23andMe, she said, her voice breaking slightly at the edges. I reset your password to your name, all lowercase. My inquiries, the archives I contacted when I was looking for information, it triggered them to... They submitted their own DNA to the database, and now it... She stopped. Her eyes were wet. They swam here, Scott. From Innsmouth. They swam down the coastline and made Providence their home, and they have been here ever since, and they are... She exhaled. They're your family. The figures were close now. Their phones were out, screens glowing in the dark, and I could see their faces. I could see their inhuman faces. They turned their phones towards me one by one. I recognized the app that I could see on their screens from where I stood. 23andMe. Genetic match. Genetic match. Genetic match. The smell of brine and seaweed was overwhelming. Somewhere behind us, the waterfire music moved across the water, low, dark, and ancient. Erica took both of my hands in hers, and she looked up at me, tears running freely now, and I understood that she had been dreading this moment since the cathedral. Maybe longer. That she had chosen every single word of this walk with the care of someone who loved me and had no idea how to say what she was saying. Scott, she whispered, I'm so sorry. They call themselves the Deep Ones, Erica said, but her voice was coming from somewhere far away because my mind had finally caught up with my eyes. They were close enough now to see clearly, and I wished they weren't. Most of them wore the kind of ordinary clothes that people wear when they are trying not to get noticed. Damp at the hems, salt-stained. But their faces. Some of them were almost human. Almost. And that was the worst part. Mouths a fraction too wide, eyes too large and too dark, skin with a sheen that wasn't quite right in the firelight. And the others, further back in the group, where the almost wasn't doing much work, where the fish-like had won more ground. And my brain kept reaching for something human in each face and finding just enough to make the rest of it worse. They moved past Erica without touching her and surrounded me. Their phones held up, screens facing outward. 23andMe. Genetic match. Genetic match. Genetic match. More than I could count. I tried to grab Erica's hand. Erica, we need to go right now. We need to... She didn't move. She let go of my hand and looked up at me, and I saw it then in her eyes. Sadness and a little revulsion, but not at them. Scott, she said carefully. They're your family. No, I said, with considerably more confidence than I felt. They've been here the whole time, waiting. Her voice was fracturing at the edges. I'm so sorry. I didn't know when I started looking. I didn't know what I was going to find. I didn't know that they would... She stopped and reset. I love you. I need you to know that first, but everything's different now. I can't. Erica! Cold hands closed around my arms from behind. More than two, pulling me backwards towards the river. I tried to dig my heels in. But what about us? I managed. What about you? What about... I can't go with you, Scott. Her tears were running freely now, her voice climbing in pitch as she tried to tell me the last words she would ever speak to me. I'm not... I don't... This isn't... She exhaled. I love you, but I can't. It's not you. The sound that was almost a laugh escaped her. It's not you. It's me. Erica! The hands pulled harder. My feet left the ground. I fought with everything I had, which turned out to be considerably less than what they had. And the dark water came up to meet me faster than it seemed fair. The last thing I saw above the surface was Erica, standing at the river's edge, her arms wrapped around herself, her face a thing I will not describe because I don't want to. And the river closed over my head, and the world went very quiet. Somewhere in the deep, in a place that was older than the city above and darker than the water around it, something spoke. Not in words exactly, not in any language I had learned, but in something that went around language entirely and arrived already understood.
Welcome, son of Zordikif, child of Dagon.
And something in me, something I had not known was there, answered. There are things that happen to a person that no amount of self-awareness can make funny, and I've been working on it. It has been some time now, and I'm adjusting, which is a generous way of putting it. Dagon is, I will give him that, a generous god. The Deep Ones want for nothing, and his gifts come up from the deep in the form of worked gold and green metal and figures and crowns of craftsmanship that no living surface artist could replicate. And I suppose I'm not a surface anything anymore, so I should stop thinking of it that way. Abea was right. Everyone here knows everyone else's business. It turns out that that's just what happens when you're all connected by something ancient and aquatic and somewhat beyond the usual social frameworks. I think about Erica, more than is probably healthy, though I suppose the metric for healthy has shifted somewhat. I've thought about going to see her, bringing her trinkets and gifts of Dagon's gold. I think about it more than I think about anything else, if I'm being honest. And I always will. But I know what I look like now. I know what I smell like to the human nose. And Erica is particularly sensitive. I know what she saw beginning to happen in my face in the firelight by the river, that moment of recognition before the Deep Ones closed in. The thing she saw that I couldn't yet see in myself. I don't know if I could bear to see that look of revulsion on her face ever again. And thank you for listening to We Are Providence by me, J.S. Wells. Don't go away, I'm going to keep talking. Congratulations, you're one of 5 people to listen to my first story as I'm trying something out. I don't really know what I'm doing yet, but that's not stopping me from doing it anyway. This is a trial run. a short story of about 6,000 plus words to see if I can make something people would be interested in seeing and hearing. The idea for this story came about when I myself did move to Providence. I was already a Lovecraft fan, which is one of the main reasons I decided to move here. I did see that shambling businessman in the beginning of the story, and I instantly thought, holy hell, it's a deep one on land, which is probably mean, but that's, well, what I thought. That started a string of ideas about how maybe the deep ones did, in fact, migrate down after they were driven out of Innsmouth to take residence here in Providence. It spawned a whole series of stories that hopefully people will want to hear. This one, being the first legitimate story I've written in years, was built on that idea of write what you know. And just about everything in the story is autobiographical, aside from the transformation at the end, though I'm sure some would argue it. Obviously, the things that happened didn't all happen in the span of 1 week in the order that they did happen here in the story, but that was all taken from real life events, including my mother's maiden name never existing before Ellis Island. Obviously, her last name was not Zodikiv. It was hard to create an unknown surname that wasn't already a surname or so close to one that in any language that you could find it. I got inspiration for Zodikiv after reading Clark Ashton Smith's Tales of Zothique and making Zothique sound kind of Slavish, and it seemed to work. Everything else, like I said, more or less happened to me, except for the house fire that happened to the woman that Erica was based off of, and the church did breathe on her after eating mushrooms. The homeless guy that seemed to recognize me was when I was living in Baltimore. That scene freaked me out. And Abeo was patterned after an actual coworker who did move out of Providence. And there was a manatee in the rivers up here at some time back, though I didn't get a chance to see it myself. I have a few more stories to try in this way, and I expect to get better at it as I keep going. It's challenging to time the drawings with the text, but even more challenging to listen to myself talk. I don't like it. I don't expect to ever be able to hire an editor, but maybe at some point I can get some proper editing software and learn how to use it well. I'll probably re-record this at some point as one long story with better narration before too long. But keep an eye out for more stories. I've got a bunch of them coming. Again, thanks for listening. I hope you liked it. See you soon.